Hi guys, and welcome to the Business as Unusual show. For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Luke from Sleeping Giant Media. I'm the CEO, and we help to get more relevant traffic to our clients' websites. So if you are on our channel, do check out the rest of our content. We've got loads of stuff there that will help you with your digital marketing, take you to the next level. This is episode 57 of the Business as Unusual show. Who would have thought it? Lockdown continues, so we continue. And we're here to chat to our business-related guests, probe them on their sector, and test their specialist subject knowledge in our live mastermind quiz. We're here to bring you a break from the boredom of Zooms and to make isolation, well, a little bit less isolating. So it's Wednesday. It's only halfway through the week, but it's already been a crazy week. So let's find out what has been going on in the news. In a week where poor decisions have been blamed for the high COVID death figures in the UK, Boris Johnson and Priti Patel announced a long-awaited tougher measures on the UK borders. Over on American soil, US President Joe Biden has had his first call with Russian President Vladimir Putin that was described as businesslike and frank, with the two presidents discussing accusations of Russia's involvement in election fraud. It could get interesting. And staying over in the States, gymnast Nia Denias has become a viral sensation following her Black Excellence routine at UCLA, with the routine being viewed by more than 9 million people already. The routine, inspired by Black Lives Matter's movement, has been applauded across the internet and has been awarded 9.95 out of 10 from the judges. So you've got to give it a watch. Just don't try it at home. So with that said, let's backflip over Hump Day with another Business as Unusual. Hi guys, and welcome back. So on the show today we have the burning question of the week. We're going to meet and chat with our guest Graeme Barratt, and we are going to put him through the Mastermind Challenge as well. That's new for 2021. Graeme's topic is, I believe, Power Rangers today. We're going to find out a little bit more about that. I'm just watching Graeme's face to see if he kind of realise what it's actually going to be about. So yeah, we're going to find out who's going to top our leaderboard. So we're going to find out a lot more. But without further ado, let's introduce Graeme. Graeme, how are we doing, sir?
I'm good, Luke. Yourself?
Oh, very well, very well. Welcome to the show. Obviously we're kind of connecting here. It's been quite a long time since we kind of last caught up, but there has been so much has happened. What's kind of going on in your world at the moment?
It has been a crazy few months, hasn't it? Where do you start, Luke? I've reconnected with mathematics of a 7-year-old age. I've rekindled my love for rhombuses. I've got an eclectic range of examples of homophones, and I've also managed to do some of my own work in there as well. So wow. It's been an interesting few weeks.
I love it.
I just can't believe January's almost over.
I literally feel like it is a repeat almost so far of 2020 has been condensed into 2021. It feels kind of quite intense as a start, but I liked your initial response of how things are going, where they're kind of like, It feels like that's a collective answer that is that if you ask anybody at the moment, it's kind of like, oh yeah, no, yeah, you're kind of trying to keep the positive vibes going, but there's a lot of plates being spun right now collectively by everybody at the moment. How so? Obviously, you're enjoying the rumbus. The rumbus, is that like a dance or
Wrong.
the rum,
I might try that. That might be next month's challenge.
the
Rumba
rum?
dancing.
It's a new thing. It's kind of combined the rumba and the rhombus to create the rumbus.
Four-sided shapes. I may have got that wrong. Four-sided shapes
I
with
think you're right.
Latin dancing.
I think well,
or something there.
Well, like I say, you might want to double check that, because if you're supposed to be focused on Latin-based dancing, then and you're talking about four-sided shapes in slightly different angles, then there's going to be some tests failed surely at some point for your kids as well. But how are you balancing it, or how are you managing to do that?
I think we all just have to do what we have to do just now. I think it's about taking the small mercies and looking at the positives. I never had this time with my parents. They were working, and I've got it with my kids. So hopefully we'll look back at this time and look at it as a blessing in disguise. But I don't think there's any. We have to kind of look after each other, look after ourselves as best we can, and just plough forward.
Yeah.
And let's not look at Boris's announcements about when the schools will go back. That's another self-defense mechanism.
Yeah. Yes.
And just
there's a sort of
might be tomorrow.
Yeah. The downside I think is that if you don't have the end point, it's also really tough. If someone said, like, then if it would be worse or better to say, well, it's definitely happening, at the end of Feb or middle of March, to then have a target. But when it's kind of open ended, it just feels, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just feels more tough, I think, at the moment.
I think when you're talking about something like schooling, I suppose there is an end in sight. So when it's blurred and unknown, there is an end. But when it's structured and defined, or roughly defined as post-Easter or maybe later, then that becomes a bit more difficult to talk. But anyway, I can't complain. Everybody's doing very well. We're all fine and healthy, and managing businesses is doing well. So I can't complain.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm pleased to hear it. And we're getting spammed on Twitch as well, which is good to see. Hi everybody on Twitch. If you're real people, thanks very much for that. We're going to go straight to the burning question of the week. Press the wrong, but okay. So the question for us to discuss is: should retailers prioritise digital over physical stores now? That's the question. What do you think? There's obviously some stuff going on in the news about this one. What do you think? Is it something that realistically businesses, I mean, not just necessarily retailers, but all businesses have to do?
There's obviously. It is a difficult one, because obviously we're all spending a lot more money online at the moment just now. But then on the flip side, there's also that sort of desire, I think, the underlying desire for us to shop locally. And let's be honest, a lot of small retailers haven't quite got the e-commerce situation worked out. So it is a bit of a challenge, because what we want to do and what we have to do sometimes are two different sides of the coin. When I found out this was a burning question, we did some research with our audience. So we polled a couple of thousand students. I don't know if you'd be interested to hear what the feedback from them was. But obviously it's relevant.
Yeah, go for it. I just 1 second. I have to acknowledge the Twitch stream here, guys. So this is apparently a raid. So guys on Twitch, thanks for raiding. Welcome. Hi. If you like digital marketing, if you like getting involved, then this is the channel for you. You're not source. I'm sorry. I take it back. You're not spam, man. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It's a raid. Get involved, people. Get just questions for Graeme. If you've got questions related to digital marketing, chuck them in the chat. Thanks, guys, for joining. There looks like this possibly our highest viewing sort of channel. Twitch has just become that. So just wanted to address that, and thanks, hi from the UK to everybody in America there. But back to you. Sorry, Graeme, had to thought it felt better to kind of address that, and yeah, please let us know insights. What's going on with the students? What was the kind of the feedback you got?
Well, just before we go into that, if we're talking about Twitch, I'm hoping that the massive 4 followers I've got on Twitch might be helping us.
That's what's happened.
You know,
That's what's happened.
Yeah,
I think you've driven.
Not, I can't guarantee that, but perhaps. So as I was saying, I thought it'd be quite interesting to find out, you know, obviously what our audience, what the thoughts were amongst our audience. So our business is dealing with a predominantly 16 to 24 market students, young professionals, graduates, and we ran a survey over the last day. Just over a couple of thousand people responded. So first question was, do you miss in-store shopping? 82% said yes, which I wasn't really surprised at. Yeah. Where did you shop more before COVID-19? In-store was 68%, so obviously a high percentage of in-store shoppers pre the pandemic. And there seems to be, we asked in certain sectors, so clothes, supermarket shopping, homeware, cosmetics, where they prefer to shop, in-store or online. And it averages round about the sort of 75% mark would prefer to shop in-store, which again, I was slightly surprised at. However, on the flip side, where do you spend more money? Now, I don't know if there was a bit of confusion as whether they spend more money regularly pre-COVID or at the moment, but 54% came back and said they spend more money online. So, yeah, there's some interesting stats there. But to be honest, I mean, I think we missed the experience. But you know, I managed to go out supermarket shopping yesterday on my lunch break, and it was like a night out for me. So I do miss.
It's like we were talking pre-show about the excitement of cutting a lawn on your lunch break. I mean, it's like life goals as well. But it's interesting. There's quite high statistics around people wanting to be, you know, because again, obviously the sort of the conversation pre-COVID was all about online and talking about, you know, selling online, but then suddenly, you know, we were then forced to do it. I guess it's kind of highlighted almost how much we missed that experience.
I think there's certain products that are just naturally more difficult to buy online. You know, when we asked what were you happy to buy online, it's the obvious ones, the clothes, maybe things that you have to try on or sample or touch or feel. You know, those were the ones that came. There was an honourable mention for caterpillars, though. I don't know whether that's the brand or the insect, but it was in there. And somebody said they like to buy small businesses. So I'm not too sure if that was quite our target market. That might be one person out of our target market. But they prefer to buy small businesses online, apparently.
Oh, okay. There we go.
So
but we have to clarify whether we're talking insects or products at this point. So just jumping into
we'll reach out.
We have to find this out. So just jumping into the chat, because it is flying through, and I'm trying to get some messages to sort of respond. Someone asked, it's Nikki, saying, where are we streaming from? So I am streaming from down south in the UK, and I believe, Graeme, you're slightly further north at this point as well. People talking about supporting local businesses as well. I think that's really, really important. Much better time shopping in person, brick and mortar for the win all day long. Yeah, so I think it's that experience though, isn't it? It's like, you know, the online aspect is important, but ensuring there's a really strong sort of, I guess, the transition between online and real world when we're allowed to be back in the real world as well. Then I think actually, yeah, it's kind of combining those two would be the kind of the most important thing. And guys in the chat, thank you so much for getting involved as well. Give us a follow on Twitch as well. This is kind of, I've never seen so many responses on Twitch. We have got, someone apparently has brought them in over here. John Burke, thank you, whoever you are. I'll have to check you out on Twitch. And we're planning to do some VR content, I'm hoping, at some point. That's my new ambition, to get involved with some VR content on Twitch as well. So thank you very much for everybody kind of getting involved with that one. We're going to jump back to the interview again. Wow. Lots and lots of comments coming in, and keep them coming in, guys. I'll try my best to keep up. They're flying through my screen at this point. So if you do have kind of questions, but Graeme, we're going to go, I'd like to go to the elevator pitch to hear a little bit more about yourself, about the business, so that, again, the guys in the chat can kind of ask some questions. So we're just going to go into that now. Okay, hang on a second. I've got to pause that timer. Okay, so very briefly, the general concept, it is an elevator pitch. So you've got 60 seconds to tell us a little bit about yourself, but also a little bit about the business as well. So 60 seconds on the clock, over to you.
So I'm the CEO and founder of Freshers Festival Group. I mean, essentially, if you want to understand or engage with the student Gen Z youth market, that's where we can help. So we do everything from audience insights and market research through to content creation, campaign execution, sampling campaigns, and of course we run a number of our own channels. So pre-COVID, we ran the largest student exhibitions in the UK, Freshers Festivals, and right now we're doing a lot of online activations, so virtual Freshers Festivals, student health and wellbeing events, and then email and social media channels. So essentially it's all about helping brands and organisations to understand and engage with that audience.
Awesome, with 10 seconds to spare, and apparently I'm supposed to give you, from Fuse Break, I'm supposed to give you plus 5 seconds for stream lag, but I'll tell you what, we're just going to switch the timer off at this point because you've done a fantastic job there. Guys, any questions, chuck them in the chat. You mentioned there that the switch to sort of the digital side of things, so obviously, the real world events, it's been a real challenge. I know we were talking about this what feels like a lifetime ago. How's the transition to the virtual kind of space been?
It's been interesting because as a business, I suppose we had the blessing of running quite successful physical events. So whether those be the festivals or in-person recruitment events for brands or campaign activations, we were always quite busy, which is nice. But we didn't really get to do anything on our to-do list, and that to-do list involved things like how do we scale up a freshers experience so it's open to anybody regardless of where they live. We had sort of international aspirations, so we work with a lot of international students who are coming over to the UK. How do we provide information and content to them before they even come to the UK so they can help make these big decisions? So it's been quite nice actually, from the perspective of being able to spend some time this year working on some of these channels that we just kept getting pushed to the back burner. I mean, as far as the actual day-to-day is concerned, we're seeing a lot more engagement from our audience. So in days gone by, if we received maybe a couple of hundred or a few hundred messages over a quarter from students, that would be quite normal. Whereas we're receiving hundreds, sometimes thousands of messages in a week. Wow. From students asking questions, obvious question, how do I meet people right now, through to what courses should I be picking, what decisions should I make next week. So we've had much deeper engagement and connection with our audience this year through the sort of growth of our digital channels and virtual events. So that's been a really nice bonus, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I was told by my colleagues quite early on I had to stop answering them personally because I was like an old dad answering these questions. Like, no, let us do that.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah. But yeah, no, there is that connection, isn't there? That's kind of been forced. There's so many more questions that people are asking as well. We're just going to go. We are unbelievably halfway through, so this is going to be the halfway point, and we're going to have a quick look at an event that we're running on the 5th of February, which is called Virtually Perfect. So have a look at this. So there we have it. That is Virtually Perfect coming up on the 5th of February. So if anybody is on the channel who does presenting, promos, wants to run live events and wants to up their virtual game, we can show you some of the tips and tricks that we have learned over the last 12 months through failure, predominantly through just trying stuff, it failing and it not working. We've got some people in the chat. Just gonna have a quick look. Yes, we're still in lockdown here in the UK. It's a bit crazy at the moment. Our schools are sort of shut down, and we were just talking there sort of I think before, but we're just basically schools are shut until mid of February at least, but we anticipate that kind of going on for a lot longer. That's from Nikki. No one knows what's going on. Yeah, that's generally, I think, the gist of the whole lockdown at the moment. So there's some kind of crazy things happening in the world, across the world, and lots of people in chat sort of updating us on what's going on as well. So guys, put any more questions that you have for Graeme in the chat, and any sort of observations about where you are in the world and what sort of the lockdown situation is with you, because it does feel nice to share some of this together, because there is a lot going on. So do please put those in the chat. So as you're saying just before there, Graeme, there's obviously lots of people who are able to ask a lot more kind of questions. It feels like that personal side of things. I think sort of digital has hopefully helped to bridge the gap there about, what would potentially be really functional questions. Feels like a kind of more heart to heart conversations. Is that kind of why you were keen to get involved with answering some of those questions?
I mean, absolutely. And I think also the volume of quite serious help that's needed, loneliness and mental health issues, and, just even that feeling of loneliness. You want, I suppose what quite often why I jumped into question, it was letting individuals know that they weren't alone in feeling like this, or, it being a challenge, or because quite often, especially for first or second year students, there's no yardstick, and I think for all of us right now, actually, there's no yardstick as to what is considered success now. If we've had a successful day, I think just getting through it and smiling at the end of the day and being able to look after those around you, I think that's success. And then, of course, there's the normal pressures piled upon. So I think particularly for first year students, they don't have a normal yardstick in which they can compare. I think that there's definitely been a bonus, people starting to open up and conversations happening. And there's a lot of amazing organisations out there who are also doing the same. So, long may that continue. Yeah. But I think the people are missing live experiences. That's definitely feedback that we're getting. Yeah. They're missing face-to-face interaction, live events.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just how we merge the two in the future.
Absolutely.
To bring the best of both.
And I'm gonna have to shout Smoky Beats. There's love back at you as well. So thank you for sharing that in the chat as well. But how does this? What's the long-term implications? What are the long-term implications on students? Because again, I've got kind of connections who he's in GCSE year, so kind of exam year in the UK. But has been told that he doesn't have to do the exams because they kind of cancelled that. But there'll be lots of people that are kind of earlier on have to learn all the content ready for those exams, and having to do it kind of remotely. What does it mean for students, particularly having to kind of experience all this? What do you think the implications will be for them?
I think unfortunately it's not to sort of sit in the fence here, but I think it is unknown at the moment because everybody's learning. This is a completely unique and new experience. So everybody from the cabinet office and the government through to the universities who are looking at GCSEs and A-level results, to schools delivering the teaching, the parents who are supporting and the pupils from nursery school right through to further and higher education. It's so unknown at the moment, and we're seeing in all sorts of sectors that the concern really for everybody, from a business perspective, is that there's no timeline being placed in this. Yeah. So people aren't able or willing to make decisions on what the next step will be. I think if we had defined timelines, which hopefully we will get, optimistically over the next 3 to 6 months, as long as we can start to see a timeline, then we can start to make decisions based on that timeline. Right now, unfortunately, it's just a bit unknown. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have been affected. This new lockdown has come as a surprise. and it has been a bit of a hit on all sorts of finances and emotions and mental health. So it's not a very specific answer,
No,
Luke,
challenging
but
time,
I think
isn't
that's
it?
the nature,
Yeah.
the nature of dealing with right now. It's just a big unknown, and we're just trying to make contributions in any way that we can.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And just to chat, Nikki, my son, first grade, part of the curriculum is learning communication, sharing physical in-person experiences that are entirely missing out on. Yeah, really, really tough times. But to keep and trying to keep the positivity, because I know there's some serious topics going to be discussed here, we're going to go to our mastermind quiz. Okay. We talked about some serious stuff here, so it's about to try to sort of, be a little bit less serious for just a moment to keep the kind of, positive vibes happening. Let me get my questions out. So this, for those of you who are new to this is new for the 2021 series of Business as Unusual. We have from Graeme a topic that he has selected, and then we're going to ask him some general knowledge questions. Just to give you a quick view here, let's have a look at the leaderboard. It hopefully works this time. There we go. Rob leading the way with 7, Rebecca in second place with 6, and Graeme to be confirmed. We'll have to find out. It's all going to move live once we've done that kind of quiz. And again, anyone in chat, get involved. If you know the answers, chuck them in the chat. You're at a massive time delay compared to us, so you're not going to give them the answers. So it's all good. Just chuck them in there as and when you have them. So right, are you ready for this? We're going to put 60 seconds on the clock. And for those of you who don't know, I believe that Rangers are a football club. And for football, just to clarify, in the UK is soccer, for anyone that's watching in the States. Okay, so is that right? They play football, is that right, Graeme?
Well, I genuinely thought you were going to ask me about Power Rangers there.
No.
Or the New York Rangers.
No. We're sticking to Rangers FC. It's all good. Okay.
Go.
Here we go. Are you ready for this? You've got 7 to beat. You're not ready, but we're doing it anyway. There's no choice.
But we'll go anyway.
Here we go. 60 seconds. Oh, there we go. Now we go. Okay. How many league titles have Rangers FC won?
54.
Correct. What are the fans of Rangers FC known as between one another? You can skip if you...
I mean, there's maybe some that I can't say. But I'll go with teddy bears.
Incorrect. What are Rangers and their rivals Celtic collectively known as?
The Old Firm.
Correct. The Rangers currently sit in first place of the Scottish Premiership, but with how many points?
23.
Oh, no, the total points.
Oh, total points. 60.
Close. Yeah.
63.
No. Incorrect. Club manager Steven Gerrard has reached which milestone of games as boss?
150.
Correct. What was the first Rangers manager not? I started, so I'll finish. Who was the first Rangers manager not to guide the club to a major trophy?
Paul Le Guen.
It was, in fact, Davy White. And the nickname that we were looking for was the Blue Noses. Is that a thing, or is that just something that Google tell us and it's incorrect?
It is a thing, yeah. I suppose it is a thing. I think I should get at least half a point for that.
I'll leave that to the adjudicators. I'm going to stay well away from that. So you're currently sitting on 3 points as we move to the general knowledge round. Okay. Are you ready? No, you're not, but we're doing it anyway. Let's go. What is the largest country in the world? Mentioned in the intro.
Russia.
Correct. Which fashion designer reportedly had a relationship with Winston Churchill?
Coco Chanel.
Correct. How many valves does the heart have? Should be like
8.
Oh, 8. No, incorrect.
4.
What is the name of the school in sex education?
No idea.
In Harry Potter, what is the name of the Weasley house?
The Weasley Manor.
Incorrect.
Don't know.
Typically, what 4 ingredients go into a cosmopolitan cocktail? Need all 4.
Don't know.
Who has been
Pass.
the first Minister of Wales since December 2018?
Pass. Don't know.
The correct answer was Mark Drayford. So we have got, how many valves does a heart have? Clearly not been covered off in your homeschooling yet. So that is 4.
4. I thought you said. I won't
don't even try and turn that on me. Don't even go there. There was also apparently the name of the school in sex education, which is pretty funny as a series, is called Moordale High. And in Harry Potter, what is the name of the Weasley house, the Burrow? And apparently the 4 ingredients go into cosmopolitan cocktail are fresh lime juice, vodka, cranberry juice, triple sec, Cointreau, or orange liqueur would be the correct answers that we were looking for. I don't know if the guys have managed to update the leaderboard. Let's have a look. They have. You reside within the podium positions, Graeme. Good news.
That's all I can ask for.
That is good news. That is because we have had 3 guests so far. So by default, you would have been on the top 3 steps regardless. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for the top step, but it was a very good effort. So thank you very much for playing our mastermind quiz. Guys, we are absolutely out of time. I can't believe where the time has gone. Thank you so much for everybody who's got involved in chat as well. I didn't even get a chance to follow along, but I can see lots of people have been chucking in answers to those questions. So thank you very much for getting involved. Andrew, I can see you in the chat there. Thank you very much. You got very involved with the chat. I think you got most of those correct. Nikki was talking about, has worked out we're talking about football. That's not, again, soccer. That's right. That is it. We're not talking about the American version of that. But again, thanks very much. Smoky Beats, thank you for getting involved. Graeme, thank you for being a fantastic guest. And best of luck with everything that all the challenges that the next few months, and it's fingers crossed the weather changes. You can get back out to the lawn and on your lunch breaks as well. That's
high hopes.
High hopes indeed. Guys, that is it from us. We will be back. Thank you for joining. So do follow, get involved. I don't think we do any donations or anything like that on Twitch. We're not that cool. So just follow. That'd be great. And then we'll be back on again next Wednesday at the same time at 4:00. So you get involved again. And thanks again for getting involved. And we shall see you in a week's time. It's crazy out there. It's crazy. But for us, it's just business as unusual.